And for a reaction, let's bring in David Bahnsen, founder and managing partner of the Bahnsen Group. So I love my colleagues, but they always tell me I care way too much about the Federal Reserve.
You do.
I do.
I thought you were going to say bonds.
And bonds. But what do you make of that? Because it does, you know, Federal Reserve sets interest rate policy that we pay, that small businesses pay. What do you make of that interview?
Taylor, you should be commended for caring a lot about Fed policy. By the way, my kids say the same thing to me. Listen. When she's saying 3% is the neutral rate, you have to wonder how anyone knows what the neutral rate is. But let's just assume she's right. That means any rate they're at above 3, which is another 150 basis points on the way down, they consider to be tightening.
Wow.
So they can be cutting rates and still tight because they think that they are basically in a tight position above a neutral rate. So they're telling you they're going to keep cutting.
What do you think of the Truth Social post over the weekend where he's talking about the president-elect BRICS countries? He's saying he'll impose 100% tariffs if they go to do anything to unseat the dollar as the world's basically main currency. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm not going to be critical of President Trump here because I don't believe he means it. I think it's a really effective kind of posturing. The dollar is in our hands, 100%. Anybody who wants to get off of the dollar can only do it because we're doing something dumb. It's right now the strongest currency in the world. Our fiscal policy, our monetary policy are what jeopardize the dollar, not anything Brazil, Russia. I mean, these are third world gangster countries are going to derail the dollar. It's ridiculous.
But you got like, okay, so you got those guys, but you got like 20 countries kind of on the periphery. And
yeah, those are the strong ones I was talking about.
And they're looking at this. So, I mean, you've got these 4 years of kind of our adversaries aligning with each other. Is this one of these moves where you say, just get off the train now, get off the BRICS train now? Right, they're not a competitor, but don't even think about becoming one at some point in the future.
Yeah, the problem there is you want countries to operate in their best economic interest and us to operate in ours, and then where possible, trading partners, for that to be together. That's the idea, to have allies. Look, it's not about reserve currency that he's talking about. He's talking about them trading. They still have to convert back into dollars. Nobody is going to buy oil with a different currency and then keep it in a third world currency. It's not going to happen. They have to convert back to dollar as a kind of safe harbor. That's what all countries with excess reserves do, is hold it in dollars. That's not going to change. But he has other agenda items he's positioning for, and I have to think they have a strategy.
And I do agree that we hold it in our hands. Yeah. Good economic policy is what ultimately affects the value of the dollar.
The last 4 years, we kind of had some bad economic policy, which might lead some of these bad actors to think that they could gain some inroads.
Okay, but here's the thing. We have had crazy monetary policy for 15 years, meaning very experimental.
Right.
And that has done nothing to change the dollar's reserve status. And there's no other, the European Union, the yen, they're all behaving far more crazy. So it isn't something that has to jeopardize it. We have to control our debt, and we have to continue to be a reliable trading partner, and the dollar will be the reserve currency.
Quickly, I think the big stock news over the weekend was Pat Gelsinger, who we think is a pretty incredible CEO. He's a wonderful business leader and a visionary. Came back to Intel in 2021. We're hearing over the weekend was ousted by the board. Yeah. Is there anything Intel could do, and you actually have a few seconds to answer this, that would make you buy Intel?
It would take a lot of years, and they'd have to become a consistent dividend grower again, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. Pat inherited a very bad situation. There was nothing he could do, and they have a big, big challenge in front of them.
David Bahnsen, no challenges for you. It's always great to have you here. Thank you.
Good to see you.